Hey guys, Drifter here, and welcome to YouTube 101, the show where I help you run a more successful YouTube channel, brought to you by Elgato Gaming. They sponsor this series of tutorials so that the people that buy their capture cards will get the most benefit from their products. Links are down in the description. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about thumbnails, and I have the webcam on right now just kind of to spice it up a little bit before we move into the static thumbnail art, because that could get a little bit weird on the intro. Got a ghost in the background. Let's show an example of what I would say is a stereotypically bad thumbnail. And I see this a lot of times when people send me videos to review or something like that. It's just a standard ghost image, and I'm just assuming Call of Duty at this point, but it could really be anything, and some text on the right, and you're probably saying, you know, that doesn't look so bad. I can tell it's, you know, what's wrong with this? It clearly indicates to me what it is. And the problem with this thumbnail is that the person that made it didn't realize that thumbnails get scaled down to about 100 by 100 pixels, so when on YouTube it's going to look a lot more like this. And to me, I can tell that it's something about Call of Duty Ghosts, and then all the words and the letters just look like ants fighting on the screen, perhaps white ants that have been dipped in white paint fighting all over the screen. It's very difficult to read, and that's kind of a problem. We're going to be going over some bad thumbnail examples today, some common mistakes, and then I'm going to do a tutorial on how to do good thumbnails. The next bad example I would like to give you is the one that I call my eyes are bleeding example. There is a bright red, blue, yellow kind of color scheme going on with the thumbnail, and instead of using complementary colors, it's just all the bright colors, and it's very, very difficult to read. Even at this size, it's probably uncomfortable to look at, and when you scale it down to 100 pixels, it just looks like a unicorn threw up. So you do want to avoid that. What you want to do is instead colors that are complementary to each other, colors that can be read easily on top of each other, a white text on a darker background, or a yellow text on a darker background, or if you're using a lighter background, you could use a, you know, darker red or darker orange text or something like that. This is my example here with the Venom X, but I'd like to show you some of the other thumbnails that I made on my channel, and when you look at each one of these, there is a consistent pattern going on of the text color being complementary to the background such that it's easy to read. There's an underline underneath it, and you know, okay, well, the Sheba Scream, Ozzy wants bacon, doesn't need anything. It's a dog looking at bacon. It's very simple and easy to do. But all of these, by instantly glancing at the thumbnails, even at this size, you know exactly what they are. And since I don't want to build myself up too much, I'll give you another example of somebody that makes really good thumbnails, and that's T. Martin. One of the pioneering things about his channel was how good he was at making thumbnails, and you can see it right here. Every single one of his thumbnails has a very easily distinguishable picture, gigantic text that is easy to read, and the background has also something relevant and complementary. There's a couple on here. I think the two in the upper right, it's got the Ghost Aliens and the Heli Gunner. Well, he uploaded those during Call of Duty Championships, but even still you can see exactly what they are. But the rest of them are very, very clear, and that's one of the main ways that he gets views. And well, not now the channel's huge, but previously, is that these thumbnails were so awesome they stood out among the rest really, really easily, and it attracted an audience. Now let's go through a brief thumbnail tutorial. Let's say you want to make a Titanfall thumbnail, and we will start off with this Titanfall image right here. This is a random background that I grabbed offline. One of the best places to get thumbnail images is just look for fan art, look for official background, something like this. This is an official Titanfall background, just a screen grab from the trailer that somebody brushed up, and it's of a Titan falling. Well, let's make a thumbnail out of it, and one of the more common mistakes is we're going to put white text on a mostly white image, and that's bad. Even at this size, you can't read it. When you scale it down, it's very, very difficult to read. So what can help, one of the things that helps, is drop shadows. Drop shadows really help. You can now see the text on the right that's in the white glow, but drop shadows aren't the answer to everything. Changing to a complementary color and adding black outlines around the text makes it much, much easier to read. Don't make the black outlines too thick or it'll get a little bit cluttery, and complementary colors are something that I'm going to kind of avoid giving a tutorial on because I can't see colors well. I have to match them numerically and follow instructions from others, but it is pretty obvious here. However, the font is definitely lacking. That's going to be hard to read when it's small, so let's use big, bold fonts that really stand out. Big, bold fonts are easy to read at any size. People can get the couple of words quickly, the colors stand out, and they have underlines and they look like they're floating on the image, so that's really, really good. However, there's still something weird about this one. I do it a little bit when I put text on top of something, but generally speaking, it's better to put no text on the image. You want the image of whatever it is that you're showing off, and then text above, below, to the side, right, left, somewhere else on it, somewhere not attached to that image, and it looks much clearer like this. Now we're getting like a much artsier thumbnail, and I would just change this to blah 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 Titanfall commentary, put a couple of words in there of whatever's interesting. There are some other styles that you can do. There is the zoomed in on the gun style. You get a screenshot of the game or from online, and you kind of zoom in on the gun to make it huge, and it looks like the gun's like sticking through the thumbnail, shooting at people. This is something that Ali A kind of pioneered. He was the first person I saw doing it. He still does it very successfully on his channel because people immediately recognize the gun. They can tell they're getting some kind of combat image, and the text just fills in what's special or different about this video. As always, bigger text is better. If you can put bigger, bolder text on the screen that's easier to read, that's better. People are just going to jump to it and flock to it. Again, they're going to ignore those tiny ants fighting over words. And I'll use another example here of mine again. I've got big text, and this is perhaps an example of I am going to be talking about this thing. I have giant text on a background that's complementary. It's easy to read. You can see the image, you can see the text. We've got outlines, and it's very, very clear what it is that I'm going to be talking about. When you see this thumbnail pop up, you have no mistakes about what the video is about, and it also does indicate the quality of the video, the quality of the thumbnail. They go hand in hand, vice versa. Very rarely do I see good videos with bad thumbnails. Well, guys, that's all for this episode of YouTube 101, sponsored by Elgato Gaming. I hope that you enjoyed it. I hope that you learned something useful. I also hope that you check out my sponsor Elgato down in the description, because they legitimately want you guys to get the most out of their products, even if it's on unrelated things like thumbnails and tags and tutorials, and that's why I'm here. So check them out, and remember, the 3 most important things to take away from this episode is your thumbnail will be viewed smaller than it is in whatever editing program you have. Big bold fonts with underlines and outlines are better, and avoid crazy colors. Stick with simple colors and complementary colors, and everything will go much better. Hope you enjoyed it. Drifter out.